Welcome to the Sharon Vidano Show. This show is a show of inspiration, stories, tools, mindset where you can grow and ultimately live a life you love. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Sharon Vidano Show. I am so happy that I have a special guest today. Her name is Natalia Jansen. She is a theater-inspired transformational coach, award-winning educator, and international TEDx speaker. Woo woo, that's awesome. She helps people stop shrinking to fit and start starring in their own lives with their boldness, their clarity, and joy. So as a founder of Starring in Your Life, Natalia blends theater, improvisation, and spiritual tools to help her clients rewrite their inner script and reclaim their powers. And with over 20 years of experience in the arts, she's currently pursuing a PhD in educational leadership, exploring how theater fuels self-confidence and transformation. What a great combination. Welcome, Natalia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's start from the beginning. Theater teacher, is that where you started out? Is that where all this beautiful lightness started to come through? So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I realize that often people get stuck in a particular role. And it could be just something that stuck as a kid, a trait that you've displayed and someone said, oh, you're shy. And then they start telling you you're shy. And then you become shy because you accept that as your truth. And then you get stuck. And I noticed that many of us, including me, I was definitely stuck in a role at one point in my life. I was a single mom, and that was it. And I didn't like it because it didn't feel right. It felt like I was still waiting for my real life to start. It was like a pause or some kind of a, in between space, but it felt really unfulfilling. So when I had realized that, when that moment of clarity came, that, like nobody knows that you're miserable but you, right? It's not like a Prince Charming's gonna come knocking on a door and say, hey, you can be more than just a single mom. Nobody's gonna do that for you. You have to do that for yourself. You have to make a decision. You have to step into what I call the starring role in your life. Most people are become complacent. They get stuck in a particular role. And even if it doesn't feel right, it's something familiar. And, they end up playing a supporting role in their own life story. And I did that for a moment and it didn't feel good and it was bothering me. And when I realized that there was not going to be a Prince Charming who's going to come knocking on the door and telling me, hey, you can be more than just a single mom or a teacher, I had to make that decision for myself. I had to be bold and brave enough to, first of all, face the reality of where I was and the fact that I was completely responsible for it. And it wasn't easy to look at all the ugly parts of yourself. But when you are willing to stay in that uncomfortable space and see it objectively and clearly, that's the place where you can make a very powerful decision. Like, this is not what I want. What do I do? First, actually figure out what you want, and then what can I do to make that happen? And so I realized that there's three things I really loved. And I realized that I loved them because those were my go-to whenever I would have either some free time or whether I was sad. My go-to would be personal development and spiritual teachings, learning how to, master your life, how to get more out of it. Theater, because that was my first love when I fell in love with theater, when I discovered it in high school. And love. I realized that I am my grounding, my place of who I am, how I show up, always comes from a place of love. I have never been the kind of person who overthinks, overanalyzes, and worries about stuff. When I don't have control over something, I release it and I focus my mind on something I can control. And so those are the three things that worked for me and helped me figure out that, hey, I get to decide what I do with my life, and I get to play and experiment with it. And that was really fun. Um, really making joy a foundation and an actual intentional goal, like living every day with something wonderful and with that sense of awe and magic. Because honestly, especially after 40, you realize that life is moving forward, whether you are coming along with it or not. you know,
Yes.
you
Yes.
could be sitting on the couch watching TV and, live vicariously through the characters who are having an amazing adventures on the screen, or you can get out there into the world and have your own adventures. And so I decided I wanted my own adventures. I decided that I was gonna spend my time doing things that feel good, doing things that make me happy, doing things that are joyful, and be curious about things I didn't know about, and experiment and see what aligned and what didn't. And
That's beautiful. And I can see the journey. And obviously now you're realizing, and I love the part that you identified it, liken it to theater, that you're playing a supporting role. And I can see the journey and that you come out on the other end, and that's beautiful. And you're here to help other ladies. So when you say supporting role, and what I heard for me is that, for example, in my former marriage, I felt like I was always deferring to what he wanted, what my former husband wanted. Is that what you meant? Like what kinds of situations are women experiencing that you feel can fall into the supporting role, that would be like an ideal person that would want to talk to you?
well, imagine a young executive woman who happens to be either in a corporate setting where there is, very assertive male leadership, and she has a brilliant idea, but because she feels either intimidated or young, or whatever other silly story that's in her head that's stopping her from, for example, sharing this idea or stepping out and letting them know what it is. Um, so that would be, settling in a supportive role, where if she has a brilliant idea and she knows that this could move the needle, having that courage to step out and having the courage to deal with the eyeballs rolling, or even being, maybe not heard the first time, but being persistent, calm, peaceful, and persistent in sharing and speaking up, or reassessing her position and finding a different culture, community, company, or expression where she can step into that leadership role. That would be an example. In my personal life, um, I stepped into a supporting role when I became a single mom. It happened very unexpectedly, with no warning. One morning my husband went out to work, to help a friend install something, and then he never came back.
Mm.
And things have occurred, that I had no control over, but overnight, like this, I became a single parent. And I I I I went into a survival mode. My most important thing was I did not want my daughters to want for anything. So I became completely devoted to being the best mom that I can be, which meant I cut out everything else. I had no social life. I eliminated anything that I didn't think was necessarily to my daughter's thriving. But over time, it diminished my life energy and my ability to thrive, because I became just, kind of a part of who I was, a little shell. And so that is what I invite anyone, be it a woman, be it a man, if you are not feeling vibrant and alive when you wake up in the morning and you're not excited about your day, if your first reaction is, oh, not again, or when you're stepping into that office and you feel like you have to, lock your soul or put on some kind of an armor to get through the day, you are not starring in your life. You are playing a role, that's either co-starring or subordinate or supportive, but it's definitely not fully you. Your soul, your spirit, the reason why you're here is giving you signals, right? That feeling of discontent or the longing and dreaming about something else, those are your signals. And honoring them and listening and paying attention, and then being willing to just open up a corner of the mind, just a little bit of curiosity, just allowing a different idea or different thought enter and entertaining it is already creating an opening for the life energy and the force to flow through you, which will result in either opportunities or signs, or people coming to your life that will spark some kind of an electricity, because life is all about movement. Life is about energy. So, and when we settle, when we living a life that doesn't feel electrifying, then we are not in a starring role.
And I love that. And I love that it's really, I like the qualifier is when you get up in the morning and you feel like excited for your day. And clearly when your former husband left and didn't come back, you had to figure it out to figure out what your next step is. So what would you tell someone who just all of a sudden they have this wake up call? Because you had to be in survival mode for your daughters. So what would you tell someone, a man or a woman, when, you know what, I feel that I have to do this because I'm in survival mode? Is there a way to make survival mode also be aligned with your soul?
Well, I would start by making sure that we change the language around it. Yes, because surviving is definitely not thriving. And you want to thrive. But when we are surviving, it means we're looking out into the circumstances and conditions and situations to determine what we can or cannot do. And that is a false premise, because everything that we see and that we're experiencing on the outside is a projected reflection, it's a mirror image of what's happening on the inside. So my recommendation would be to pause and take some time to sit with yourself and realize that you don't have to be surviving. You are alive, you're breathing. And that means that anything and everything is available and possible to you. You have to shift your attention towards what feels good to you, what makes you feel alive. Maybe a first place to start would be, asking, who do I want to be? Right? Who do I want to be right now? Do I want to be someone who is always rushing and chasing and surviving? Or do I want to feel peaceful and calm? When you're rushing and surviving, notice your breathing. Are your breaths deep, filled with oxygen and life-giving, energy? Or are they shallow? Are they frustrated and stressed and frantic? So anyone in any situation, when you notice that you are in survival mode, or you're in a stress or in a fear place, the moment you notice is the moment of your power and awareness, because you can pause and you can stop for a moment. You can even close your eyes and take a breath. But think of it as the ocean. In the biggest storm on the surface, the waves can be wild and tossing, boats left and right. If you look and sink deep enough down into the ocean, there's calm. There's complete calm and peace. And if you go deep enough in you, you will find that calm. It's there. You just have to be willing to stop reacting to what's happening and pause. And then find that peace, find the calm, find the love that is the essence of everything that we are. When you find that place in you, and then you know how to get back to it, no matter what is happening around you, that is the center of your power, and we have access to it at any time. But the first step is to notice, is to be aware.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I can tell that anyone who works with you or even has any kind of connection with you is just going to have that calm, I feel that calming energy from you anyway, but as they continue to work with you and be with you, I'm sure that it is just a place to really grow and really reflect. So that's just wonderful. So, so if my listeners would love to come find you, how can they find you and get more information about you?
The easiest way to find me is by going to my website at starringinyourlife.com. Oop, right there.
There it is, starringinyourlife.com. Beautiful.
Yes. Starringinyourlife.com. If you'd like to be inspired, just sign up to get the free videos every week and be inspired, be motivated, reminded of the power that is within you, and that at every moment, when you are present and when you learn how to notice what's happening with you and you allow yourself to feel and then choose how you want to respond and pivot, that's the moment where transformation can happen. So yeah, or you can book a complimentary session with me. When you go to the website starringinyourlife.com, just book an appointment and consultation. It's called Rewrite Your Script. And we can talk about, your story. What are the parts of the life that feel that don't fit? Were you playing small, or were you waiting for the right time or the right opportunity? And I can help you reframe and rewrite it so that you can step out into the spotlight and be the star.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And this just dropped down right now that if you are watching the show, there is a reason why you're watching the show. So reach out, Natalia. You're getting a nudge from Spirit to say, it's time to connect and it's time to make a change. So thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, it was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the Sharon Vidano Show. I hope you had an amazing time, and I hope this episode served you. My intention is to help you live a life you love. If you love the show, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and I'll see you in the next episode.